Welcome, game dev adventurers, to the Indie Game Lunch Hour, the best dang game dev podcast on the planet.
Today, we're being joined by ourselves as we work together with you to make a branching narrative together in Twine.
The Indie Game Lunch Hour.
I hear that music in my sleep, everybody. In our live magical podcast, we give game developers the chance to hear real stories of breaking in from real industry experts, as well as directly ask them questions about their areas of expertise in the second half of each episode.
This is an unedited recording of a weekly event we host in the Indie Game Academy Discord on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, so feel free to swing on by for the next one and ask your questions live. There are links down to join below.
We're your hosts, Willem Delventhal, headmaster of the Indie Game Academy and the Wizard of Games.
And I'm Tim Wood, founder of Rightfinder Headhunting and the Knight of Games Recruitment. And joining us today is you and us as we do stuff together.
Wow. So we have an experimental episode today. Tim and I were talking about what to do with this episode of the Indie Game Lunch Hour, and we've been wanting to experiment with the format of this show a little bit. So today is a bit experimental, and we hope you enjoy coming along on the ride for us. What are we doing today, Tim?
I thought we would try and make a branching narrative together, but you know what, Willem? I'm just having difficulty thinking up where we could even start our story. Like, do we do the D&D route and we start in a tavern? Do we start with someone falling out the sky? And I wonder if our wonderful listeners could perhaps make some suggestions and we could pick what we feel could be the most fun for the player.
That does sound like a compelling thing to do together. So this is, like we said, an improvisational, experimental version of the podcast. We are going to still try to make this educational. We're still going to try to cover some stuff that you may be less familiar with. We are still going to talk about narrative. We're still going to talk about some of the process that writers and narrative folks in games go through, and perhaps even some of how to find those people for your own projects. The first thing that we're going to do, and the first thing that most writers or narrative folks will do when coming up with a new story, is to define thematics. So, how does a world look, feel, sound? What emotions are we trying to elicit in our players? And what sort of through line are we trying to give to our players at the end of the game? So, our first subject for today, out of 4 subjects that we'll get to, is the theme. So, audience, both on stream or here in Discord, what themes should we go for here? What emotions are we trying to get our players to feel? What do you think, Tim?
I always enjoy making my players feel like utter joy and glee and interest, and then just mind-bending kind of horror and fear. And this is mainly in a D&D setting. I'm no professional writer by any stretch of the imagination, but in my novel, for example, it is a dark fantasy where you're kind of, I like this protagonist, and then you're watching the character growth, but it's not making them a better person. And you're like, oh no, what's going on here? So I kind of like that feel, but I don't know. Today I'm in a bit of an absurdist, silly mood, but let's see let's let the fans decide.
So this is us basically defining the box that we ideate inside of. There are many different fields of game development, and all of us do some form of brainstorming ideation. Narrative, obviously, are trying to decide what story to tell and how to tell the story. Game designers like myself are thinking about mechanics and how the game will actually play. And pretty much every department has some form of this same thing. So if you're a visual artist, for instance, you'll wind up doing brainstorming to come up with, let's say, the character or how the set dressing should look or whatever else might apply to your department. That's why creating that box to define inside of actually helps us brainstorm. If somebody just says to you, make a game, that's sort of overwhelming. And also it's hard to sort of hit the prompt. How do we make a game that fulfills something if we don't have something to fulfill? So we actually aren't ideating yet. I'm seeing some ideas in the chat, which is great. But all we're doing right now is defining a box. We're saying, all right, this is the space that we want to fulfill for whatever reason. And you can argue with us about why you think that reason is important. Now, Tim, you're mentioning this absurdist view. You're mentioning this like subversion of expectations. Like you want it to feel happy-go-lucky and then actually crush the player's emotions into the dust. So
Uh,
why don't you tell us a little bit about why you might recommend something like that? Give me some of the maybe player psychology or like why do you like telling stories in that realm?
yeah, I think it comes from my own personal enjoyment of being surprised,
Mm.
and I like films where there's jump scares. I like thrillers where perhaps the sidekick or the friend of the protagonist is actually evil, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I never saw this coming." Um, something about those kinds of situations, or the complicated kind of pantomime of things like medieval courts and politicking and planning and strategic stuff,
Mm.
just appeals to me personally on a fundamental level.
Hmm.
Um, but I also I enjoy the kind of subversion of expectations. If I'm running a D&D game and I have them in a very horrific environment, and they're like, right, we're ready for this DM to throw everything at us, and then it's just like, oh, and you find a goat, and they're like, okay, so what is this goat? It's
And then the
obviously
goat
something a
dies.
monster, right? And I'm just like, no, it's just a pet goat that the goblins keep to make cheese, and now you have a goat. So I like to just be a bit weird with it, but
Mhm.
there's some suggestions in the Discord chat which I really like. One of them, Imani, has suggested a hopeful feeling for the players, which I
Mhm.
feel is very in vogue right now. Of the new Superman film, which I watched the other day,
Mm.
I think it's fantastic personally. Um, that's quite nice because there's a lot of like gritty stuff. There's a lot of dark stuff out there. So perhaps the subversion of expectations is it's a game where people can play it and feel happy afterwards, and like, oh, that was just nice. No monster burst out of my chest and ate everyone on the Nostromo.
Amazing. So there's I'm gonna do a poll for us in just a second to pick the theme of our branching story. So if other people have other theme ideas, put them in the chat now, and I'll put it in the poll. I wanted to touch on something you said there, Tim, which is interesting. When I asked why you like a story that subverts expectations, you said, "Well, because that's the kind of game that I like to play." And an age-old, simple place for you to start as a game developer is to ask yourself who this game is for. And most juniors or people who are just getting started will almost inevitably say this game is for everyone or this game is for this huge segment of people. It's for all men. It's for all people who like games. And most of the time, um, building a game for too broad an audience tends to make a game that just feels kind of vanilla, is not fantastic for any specific audience. An easy place to start is try to identify yourself as a player and build for yourself and that type of person. So that's what I'm hearing from you, Tim, is I really love these stories that subvert my expectations. And it's probably safe to assume that there's a good player base out there that likes that too. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I've played a lot of like RPGs, or your classic shooters and stuff like that, and I think a good entry point was some of the first like Halo games that I played, like Halo 1 and Halo 2. There's a lot of weird stuff in there for someone who'd never played a sci-fi shooter before.
Hmm.
And kind of, I think the biggest twist for me was in Halo 3 when I don't think it's a spoiler now, is it? If I reveal what happens near the end, but
Hopefully not.
343, 343 Guilty Spark absolutely nails and kills Sergeant Johnson, and I was like, oh my god, like this larger than life, badass human character, or technically a Spartan one if you've read the books, has just been utterly like destroyed, and I was filled with this like this very real anger towards this collection of pixels and if then statements on my screen, and that kind of hooked me more into stories. And then when I played kind of deeper RPGs and stuff like that, I was really kind of finding myself thinking about these games when I was like stuck in a reverie. If I was cooking some chips or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I need to log on to, I don't know, Skyrim, see what happens next in this, or go back onto Mass Effect and do this choice differently so I can hone it in better. And that's kind of, I guess, where it all stemmed from. And of course, reading lots of books and things like that always pull your interest in.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just looking at your poll, and hope is winning. I like that a lot.
We did. So we dropped a poll in the chat for everybody who's here in Discord. If you're not in Discord, you can type in the comments what your vote is, and I'll add that to the totals. But I've dropped in the chat a poll for what our theme should be for a mini branching narrative. Right now, our options are hope and motivation, epic and happy, brain rot, surprise, stress, underdog, and hugs. So tell us which story you would like to tell everyone. I think
Surprise is winning now. I like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think one of the things that I love about being a game developer in general, not just a designer, is being able to jump into those weird or more unusual stories, and being able to like design in a space that I'm not used to. I really like my very first game industry job was brain training games, which is really unusual space, and it's not really a place specifically for narrative. But I think one of the things I like about these options is they're all quite different. I don't think I've ever sat down and been like, okay, how do I design a brain rot game?
I mean, the soundtrack would be funk, right? Those hard style techno edits of like shopping trolleys and stuff. I might have to make that myself if it doesn't win the poll, because that does sound like great fun.
Okay. In the on our stream, we've got a vote from Joey for hope, a vote from surprise from Daniel. It looks like surprise might have clinched it. Are we comfortable moving forward with a surprise theme?
I do like Imani's suggestion of combining hope and surprise. So things seem grim and dark, but everything turns out okay. Because you could almost weave in a narrative about prejudgment in there. You know, you're walking through an area of town, you're like, oh, I'm definitely going to get mugged. And everyone's just like, hi, like, you want some free stuff? Like a free sample of this food? And do you need a lift anywhere? It's getting late. And you'd be like, oh, it's quite nice, actually.
I love it. All right. Well, that actually segments perfectly into the second segment of this little exercise together. So that is creating our 3-act structure. Anybody who's played Baldur's Gate 3 or many other RPGs knows that it is, or really just anything with a story, knows that it's an extremely typical exercise to split up your story into 3 acts. It's a way to better conceptualize how you're going to tell a story, and it's a structure that your players tend to just know, and so they sort of understand the story better when you do that work. So we're going to have to keep this stupid simple. We're thinking that probably this is a game that has exactly 3 choices in it. So this needs to be a baby version of a story. We can't go on a grand quest here together. Perhaps we'll expand this. Tim and I were like, maybe if people like this, we'll just keep working on this game together in a couple of episodes or something. I'm not promising that right now. So let's keep it small. What is a little baby story we can tell in 3 different acts? In the chat, either on stream or here in Discord, give us some ideas for the acts. You can propose all 3. You can propose just 1. You can just shoot the shit a little bit, and we'll sort of combine them into something interesting. And what do you think are some of the elements that might get incorporated into a 3-act structure for hope and surprise?
So for me, if we're keeping it baseline simple, it's establish the scene this player or protagonist is in. Maybe we have some form of crisis, and the crisis is literally, I don't have enough bus fare to get home, for example. They then have to go on a journey to afford the bus fare. You know, do you look under the bins for change? Do you ask someone for some change? Or do you try and bluff your way onto the bus? And then you have the conflict. You know, bus driver tells you to get lost. Someone tells you to stop sniffing around bins. And maybe, I don't know, some other person just tells you to go away. That kind of thing. And then you have how the protagonist responds to that. How do they resolve the issue? And then eventually pass their quest of getting on the bus or getting home or however that looks. That to me is like a very cobbled together 3-act structure. It won't follow the actual conventions written down that I've got not to hand right now, but kind of that kind of thing. You need some element of the conflict, you know, something for the player to work against to then get the objective or the goal in my mind.
Awesome. Okay, so what I heard from that, tell me if this is about right, is Act 1 would be establishing the scene. This is where the story is taking place. This is who the character is. Act 2 would be introducing the crisis. Something has gone wrong. Oh dear. And Act 3 would be a resolution to that crisis. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I always think of it in Dungeons and Dragons terms because that's when I first learned how to tell fictional stories for people who were not me. And I was always like, oh, you awaken in a prison cell and all your gear is gone and you must find a way out of the manacles. And, the players would come up with different solutions. I'm like, oh, you come across the guard, but you did overhear him being severely underpaid and mistreated. So you want to fight him or you want to convince him to come along with you? All that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's rewarding player agency, I think, because I always think when I play around with branching narratives just for myself or for friends and stuff like that, or when I'm designing D&D games, I'm always like, who is the most chaotic person I know? And I always think of one or two friends of mine in a D&D group I play with, and I'm like, well, how would they try and derail me as a DM? And then I try and build those options in for them.
That's beautiful.
So, it's like, when we played Helldivers together a while back, Willem, first thing we did was shoot each other. Despite the fact it's a player versus environment game, I was like, well, I want to see what happens when I shoot Willem with a rocket launcher. And spoiler, he blew up.
I died. Okay, I love this. So we have some options coming in. This is great. So Joey on YouTube has said, Act 1, the player is in an unfamiliar area. Act 2, the player must learn the new rules of this area to progress. And Act 3, the player returns home after mastering these new rules. Now, Joey, I love this as a structure, but at this point, I want specifics. So what is this unfamiliar area? Who is the player? And what are the new rules that they have to learn? Give me that, and then we'll include that as an option. Christy says, a shy child's first day of school, wherein the end goal is to make a friend. Oh God, it hurts. They have to struggle to overcome their shyness and learn to embrace who they are. I can tell, Christy, that you're a narrative designer. Petunio, no, that's not an option. Thank you, Petunio. Petunio is just making
Love
jokes
Wolf
at my expense.
359. Hell yeah. Love the Trek reference.
Wow.
Maybe it's Locutus just deciding which ship to shoot first.
That's pretty cool. That actually is kind of interesting. So see, I love that teeny tiny narrative chunk. Our story could be just Captain Kirk deciding which ship to shoot on, or our version of Captain Kirk. So let's get a couple of other options in the chat before we put a poll to vote. So far we have a child making a friend, which is adorable. We have other options for a 3-act story that tells that hits the themes of hope and surprise. Tim, do you want to pitch something?
Yeah, I'm just. I like the crisis in global earthquake has split the Earth in half. Surprise! I've got questions how the gravity would work. Getting lost, getting more lost. Comment that made me laugh was just, you can tell he's not American by suggesting using public transport. It could just be a British person in America trying to use public transport. That could be fun. When I used the subways in New York for the first time, it was a lot like the London Tube, just with more of edge to it. And I was like, I'm glad I sound British because everyone was very helpful to me. What else have we got? We've got The Shy Child. We've got Battle of Wolf 359. Planes. We see a hut in the woods, and the player is a muscular man looking for a place to call home. I mean,
these are pretty good options.
Like he muscled bicepingly across the plains. There was one about an android earlier picking up parts of its own self, which I quite liked because I felt like maybe the android would get more abilities and would get smarter, perhaps, if it's finding different components of itself. Maybe it's an android that got its ass kicked in a battle and it's got to reassemble itself. Or we could just do, someone trying to get home. What do you think, chat?
Yeah, what do we think, chat? We have, if we get one more. Oh, here we go. This is from Zeldatron. A sentient android goes through a dungeon seeking its own technology it forgot. That's pretty freaking cool.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Joey, if you throw me a more specific version of your 3 acts, I will include it as one of the options. Otherwise, I'm going to drop the poll here in just a second. Energy Man says, Act 1, a kid in a car imagines a ninja jumping over the scenery. Act 2, you see, actually, they are escaping a war zone. Oh my God, Energy Man. Act 3, they make it out safe into a safe city. Oh, that's beautiful.
Good one. I
There's
liked
that.
the instant reaction I had to just reading that. I could see it in my mind. I
A
don't
kid
think we could do
escapes a war zone.
I don't think we could do the Locutus of Borg choosing which ship to shoot because, of course, as you probably know, Willem, being an avid Star
Mm-hmm.
Trek fan, it was the Borg using the tactical knowledge of Captain Picard to decide which ships to destroy first. So it would have to be a story from the Borg collective's perspective instead, I would
Okay.
say.
All right, well then I'm going to drop these. We have one from Joker. Joker's is long. Let's see. A big bad wolf card battler where each act is a different roguelike house from the Three Little Pigs. And there's a text story script after each branch. Till the end pig boss goes through each house, learning about the pigs until finding out about defeating. It's hard to read because people keep dropping new chat messages. Defeating the last one that was in prison with a giant wolf in a big costume at the end, and you were the unknowing tester of its security. That is metaphysical and kind of confusing, but I'm going to add it, Joker. I need a pig emoji. Here we go. Secret pigs. That's what I'll call
I
it.
don't
Option.
know how to build a card battler myself, but we could totally have a win versus loss branch that we just click to, depending on what happens.
I think we would. Yeah, I think for the sake of this episode, we're going to make it pretty dang short, everyone. So don't expect too much here. All right, I have added the poll. Adding all the emojis. I know there are bots to do this that are way faster, but I don't know how. Kid. Where did I get that emoji before? We're just gonna leave it. All right, and pigs. Okay, there is a poll in the chat. Let us know which story we should go with. Tim, you have any thoughts on these options?
Really like the kid escaping a war zone, a robot reassembling itself, the Earth splitting in half, because I've got an idea for a twist for that already. British person using public transport just because it feels like the most tame izakaya in the world. Secret Pigs, just that as a title makes me laugh.
Joey from YouTube says that Christie's idea, a child makes a friend, has their vote.
Yeah, nice. I'm abstaining from the vote because I want to go with what the community wants here. And then you can see some Tim word vomit as I manically type this out. I'll share my screen in a minute for flying, and we'll build that out.
All right, I think let's. We've got 5 votes for a robot reassembles itself. So why don't we move forward with that so that we can start to put some stuff together.
Let's do it.
Now, by the way, one of those really easy things you can do to improve the quality of your games is exactly stuff like this. You can do internal brainstorming and internal testing really easily with just simple things like polls. And in fact, your audience, which is something that's important for you to build over time, loves this kind of thing. They love being involved. They love giving you their thoughts because you're fulfilling their dream of becoming a game developer by allowing them to get involved in what you're creating. So it's really easy to improve the quality of your games simply by getting more people involved. The pushback people always give me there is, well, I don't want to reveal my amazing, beautiful game idea because what if somebody steals it? Nobody will steal it. I promise. And even if they did, it's going to be a vastly different game. No one's going to steal it until it's making so much money. So
how many different variants of the same gameplay mechanics are out there, you know? Like, look at COD, look at Battlefield, look at any game. You know, they all fit into certain genres and mechanics. Just focus on making the best thing you can.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
And the value you get from talking with people early and often is so much greater than trying to be sneaky about it. Unless you're a big company with a reputation to protect and a bunch of marketing dollars to drop on your cool reveal trailer or whatever at a specific time, there's no reason to hide. As an indie, involve everybody. All right, Tim, as a game designer and creative director, I can do themes, I can do acts, I can think about an emotional experience, but I am definitely not the guy to open up Twine. So, would you take us away and get us started building this beautiful 3-act story
Show
about a
you
robot resembling itself?
another world. And I'm going to be looking over here because I have two screens, so I can concentrate on this. So, welcome to Twine. I can use it a bit. I'm not an expert, so if anyone has Twine tips that they feel they need to say, I'm open and welcome to them. So, we're doing the android picking up pieces of themselves. Let's make this simple. Shall we have them in a dungeon, Willem? What do you think, creative director?
I think there's a lot of love for the am I still talking?
Yeah, you're
Discord
talking
thinks I'm
about.
not getting audio. Okay, great. It sounds like there's a lot of love for the sci-fi twist. So what if we have this guy on a derelict spaceship?
Oh, I like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, do we want this in the first person, so the player is the robot themselves, or are we following in the third person?
Hmm. Audience, you can give us your thoughts about that. Typically, a
Hmm.
first person helps you relate to a character more, but a third person lets you tell a character's story better. It's like watching a movie versus playing a game. Um, I think it makes sense in this case that it be first person because
Yeah.
you're part of the mystery together. Nobody's quite sure what's going on.
Perfect. So, and I was asking those questions so I can start on my best foot as I do the first draft literally live. So let's call them Robo because I'm really imaginative.
Oh,
So
wait, am I
Robo
such a cool idea?
Robo
Keep
is
going.
seen slowly rising from a battered and rusted deck plate. They are fizzing, sparking, and clearly bear the signs of battle damage.
Ooh.
And I've put that in italics just to make it clear it's kind of a scene marker or something like that. I think that maybe do they talk to themselves? I think maybe they could talk to themselves because it's kind of like that tutorial thing in the first level where it's like, oh, I need to get up there. I can't jump that high yet.
Oh yeah,
That kind of shit.
I think
Maybe I
so.
should hold X to climb.
Now I have a caveat or just a push for you. I think we
Yep.
do have to try to finish this within the hour. So it's truly 3 choices. That's it. This is a
Let's go.
baby story. Maybe we're finding one part or something small like that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm at 40% HP
Oh
right
no.
now. I need to find my missing parts to get to the cyber phylactery. I don't know. I'm just.
That's
It's hard.
sounds
Yeah,
like a
I just.
Warhammer reference.
Yeah, I just make up
Nice.
shit as I go. Sorry for swearing.
Somebody
Um,
y'all can put in the chat. Tell us where this robot is trying to get. Okay. And then what's our first choice? That's a big question for y'all in the chat. So what is our first player's first choice from here? Have any suggestions for us, Tim? Over the boulder.
I mean, we could go for the classic homage: go north, go east, go south, go west. Um,
We could have I've personally never liked that. I don't know if other people like it. I like to give at
it's
least the tiniest bit of flavor. So what if it's different
maybe
ways to
we
get
could
somewhere?
describe the scene, but like, I'm thinking derelict
Mhm.
spaceship. It's probably bulkheads, it's corridors. Maybe it's kind of lots of confined spaces that branch
Yeah.
out, going
Mhm.
into main larger set pieces for like engineering or security or the
Mhm.
bridge, for example. So
So maybe it's then Zeldatron. Zeldatron just says power question mark. Which I'm not sure how you're imagining this, but maybe the crisis, this is for Act 2, but maybe the
oh,
crisis is that our power is running out
so you need
and
to
we
hoover
gotta
up that
yeah,
delicious power.
those powered
Right.
gems or something.
I
I
like
agree
that.
though. I think choices should have at least a little bit of flavor. So what if it is multiple ways that we can get to the cyber phylactery. I had to read that there, or at least ways that we think we can get there. So, what if we have like a dark, a dark, cramped, what's it called, like a vent, and then maybe we
Yeah.
have like something that looks peaceful and nice as a second option. What could a second option be for our dark vent people?
What about a turbo lift?
Could be turbo lift. Maybe we have
Or
three options.
a cyber lift.
A cyber lift. What about a regular lift, Six Petunia? Let's just do that.
A
A
regular
lift.
lift. And then a cyber lift.
That's really suspicious. I feel like you're gonna die if you go on that regular lift.
And maybe stairs. So we got a vent, we got a lift, maybe like a corridor.
Okay. Just a trying to think of a way to make the corridor a little bit more distinct.
What about a stairwell? A broken corridor, not a broken corridor, like a damaged corridor.
Yeah, okay.
There's an option with a bit of danger. Damaged corridor with dangerous wires, sparking wires. I like that, Christy. Damaged
Sparking
corridor
wires.
with sparking wires hanging from overhead.
Ooh. Okay. All right, so there's our first branch. So these three options need to somehow lead into our Act 2, which is our crisis.
Yeah.
Maybe can I make a suggestion?
Of course.
So perhaps this is our very baby Act 1. Maybe we don't know we're low on power yet. And we're just confused. We're trying to find we're just saying, where do I go? So we're introducing a mystery and we're introducing the character. And then in Act 2, we realize we're low on power, and that's the crisis.
Yeah. So maybe I've been knocked through the ship. I need to get to the cyber phylactery.
Yeah. I don't even know why. I have a compulsion that I need to get to the cyber phylactery. For power
I've been knocked through the ship. Memory files incomplete.
Ooh.
Last known objective. Get to the cyber phylactery.
I love this.
How about that?
Yes.
I'm so glad I'm in an improv mood today. Otherwise, you'd be watching my writer's block, which is when I'm just crying.
All right. So, of these three options, I feel like one of them's got to kill us. Is it just, where's the tension? So, which of the options kills us?
I mean, what would the safe players pick? They'll probably be like, "Oh, I'll go in the regular lift, right?" Because the vent is like cramped, and the corridor is like, "Oh, that's really dangerous. I'm not going down there." But like a normal lift with, plush carpet and a little bit of music, and it's just like I don't know, it's a bomb or something.
What do people think in the chat? Is it the regular lift that kills you? I think that's pretty hilarious.
How do we want it to kill you? Do we want it to blow you up or eat you?
Maybe we did say that hope and surprise is a part of this thing. Oh yeah, maybe are we on like some kind of organic spaceship and it grows teeth or something?
That'd be dope. It's just a mimic.
It's a mimic. My first instinct was to drop the lift, but I feel like that's too. Oh, you get vented, says Amani.
Oh, I like you get vented.
Okay.
That is quite funny.
How about this? The lift takes off, and the top of the lift, as it's like going up, is just not there, and the elevator just drifts off, into space.
Love it. I love it. Okay, so you enter the lift.
Goes into sun, so Celadron.
You enter the lift. The carpet, the floor, is arranged in symbols of the ship.
Now, as you type this out, I will say, everyone, if we were making a longer story, I would probably not instant kill the character. Players don't like that. There's a particular kind of player that does, your Elden Rings, your Dead Space players. But for the most part, players really hate an unexpected insta kill because it feels like there's you're stealing the autonomy from the player. They can't feel like, oh man, I made a poor choice and therefore I died, if it's just kind of random. Autonomy is our primary promise of video games to our players, and so if we strip them of autonomy, they tend to not like it. But in this case, we have a short story, and it's mostly just for fun, and they can restart without too much pain. So hopefully, this is just funny. Yeah, true. Even Dark Souls players, says Victor, don't like unexpected instant kills. It has to be telegraphed and avoidable. Very true, because then you're giving them the autonomy. And then if you die, it's a way that the player can learn. You're encouraging mastery instead of just letting them die.
All right, so I've put three choices in here, Willem, and the reason
Mhm.
for that is because the lift will either go up or down.
Okay.
And you might also choose to just leave the lift and do something else. So I think exiting the lift could lead you to the damaged corridor or the dark vent, and I'm just going to put those two choices in there like this. So
Okay.
for anyone, how do I do that? How do I join them together? Oh yeah, so you can either go dark vent or damaged corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just keep that dead simple. And I'm going to move that up there just so it's out the way. Ascend. The
Maybe this
lift
is what
climbs
kills them.
up. Yeah. And you feel the scrape of metal on metal. You note with interest that the dust and detritus on the floor begins to float. You look up. Too late. You are among the stars, ascending forever.
Yes. Now, somebody
You
in the
die.
now somebody in the chat, Joker says Descent could go straight into the furnace. I think it's a hilarious idea, but I'm gonna recommend we learn about a branching narrative topic called convergence or converging branches. Basically, you've already actually done that. When you exit the lift, we go back to the dark vent or the damaged corridor. Very, very typically in branching narrative, many of the choices will not be real choices for the simple reason of scope. Trying to design a story with a million different choices where every choice matters is so much work. A lot of the time, we just send players back to the place they would have gotten to anyway. So, my recommendation would be that the descend actually just goes to the same place as the dark vent or the damage corridor.
Yeah. So maybe that could lead to, and for the sake of time, we are just snowballing this. Normally, there'd be a lot more discussion here, but I'd
Mhm.
say it probably descends to engineering, and the vent could lead there as well.
That sounds good to
Um,
me.
so descend. The lift doors slide open with a ping. You have arrived at engineering.
Here's a prompt for the audience here. So I think this is where we're going to introduce the crisis, which is that our power is running out. We need to find parts to not run out of power. Um, how do we discover that our power is running out? We talked about this story of reassembling ourselves. Do we like find a new part or something?
Yeah, there's some good stuff here. Do you want me to carry on with the dark vent and the damaged corridor choices, William?
Yeah, let's get that. Um,
Okay. So I think perhaps engineering is our next main node. So perhaps all paths lead to a failure point, or you end up in engineering just
okay.
for the sake of simplicity and finishing this in the next 16 minutes. So I quite like the idea of, personally, because of subverting things, that the dark vent perhaps leads to a grisly end, and maybe the scary looking corridor gets you to engineering. What do you think about that?
Mm,
Is
I
that
think that
too
that's
mean?
No, I think that's good. And it is a great example for those who are listening to this podcast and are unfamiliar with how game narrative works.
Mm,
We almost always force players back into bottlenecks. In Baldur's Gate 3, one of the most reactive game RPGs that has ever been created with an insane amount of branching, you still always get forced back into the same bottlenecks for the sake of creating a tangible, tellable story. D&D, part of why D&D is magic is because there's truly infinite branches. There's truly infinite ways that you can go. But in a video game, we can't make it truly infinite, I guess, unless we make AI slop or something. So we almost always force the player back to one location. And I think engineering can be our midpoint. We always force them back to engineering. They manage to get there somehow. So why don't we do, I guess then we could do a different location that they get to that then leads to engineering out of one of them. So there's an interim
Yeah.
space. And then maybe the dark vent goes straight to engineering and the damage corridor goes to something that then goes to only engineering.
Yeah. So maybe what could be
Oh. Uh-oh. Him has cut off. Not at this most important of moments. Oh no. I also have no access. That's fine. All right. I'm gonna keep going. While he is gone. I'll try messaging him. So a med Oh, Tim, you're
Oh,
back. You
oh,
dropped
you're
off for a
back.
moment. This is great. Okay. Uh I started to talk people through. So we have a med bay as a suggestion. So what if the damage corridor goes to the med bay and then the only
I like
place to
that.
go after that is engineering? And the dark vent just
Okay.
goes straight to engineering.
So you head down the corridor, um,
Ooh.
dodging the I can't spell. Hang on. Dodging the missing panels in the floor.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Roll a dexterity check. No, just kidding.
And brush away the sparks dropping over your shoulders.
Christy has a great suggestion. This could be a good opportunity to introduce lore in that extra area for players who want it. So maybe the med bay, maybe you find something for yourself in the med bay that's non-critical, maybe a memory chip or something, and it gives you a little piece of your
Yeah.
past.
At the end of the corridor is a sign for med bay.
Sweet.
Upon entering, you find some bodies. Do you want some bodies in this?
Ooh, okay.
You find the bodies of the medical team.
Skeleton, says Christy. Ooh, I like that too, implying it's been a long time.
Yeah, creepy. I like it. You find the skeletons of the medical team.
And one of them holds a memory
Clutched
chip.
in the hands of one of them.
All the skeletons are in another lift, says Petunia.
Is a memory chip.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Plug it in.
Ooh.
Don't plug it in.
Maybe just move on, and that just goes straight to engineering.
Eat the chip.
Tim, we only have 10 minutes. We can't give him too many branches.
Okay. I'll rein in the goblin. Which is actually the memory brand of potato chips. Delicious.
A great example of live scope management, by the way. You'll be doing this only on the multi-month scale with your team forever. This is game development.
Willem's job is to bonk me on the head when I get too excited with choices. So don't plug it in. You continue out of medbay and arrive in engineering. Oh, typos galore. Plug it in.
Nice.
Right, so you're plugging in the
what
memory
do we learn?
chip.
Yeah. Okay, here. I'm gonna prompt the audience. Ooh, do you have an idea?
I have an idea, but let's see what the audience say.
Okay. I'm gonna prompt the audience. What do we learn from the memory chip, everybody? From the memory chip? The memory chip. What do we learn from it? Put it in the chat. Let's move on to engineering for a second. We'll come back and put that information. So
should we quickly do the dark vent?
Oh yeah, dark vent should go straight to engineering. Maybe there's just like a scare in there. A little bit of excitement.
So you descend into the vent using the bulkheads as handholds. As you continue downward,
Oh! Sorry, somebody just had a cool idea. Keep going.
your your hand sparks, forcibly loosening your grip, and you fall several 100 meters into engineering.
Wow. Nice, nice, nice. All right.
You know,
So
'cause we're showing that there's some damage there, but also
Mhm.
you fall several 100 meters and survive it, so you're also quite tanky. So it's like, okay,
You're a tanky robot. All right. So let's see. Energy Man had a really cool idea. You are a
yeah,
medic that was transferred, has had their consciousness transferred into this machine.
dope.
I love it. Amani points out this is supposed to be hopeful, not bleak. So we do need to end this story in a hopeful manner, but I love that as extra lore.
You've not only transferred that medic's consciousness into your machine, but the cyber phylactery has the memory backups of everyone on the ship, and is a
Mm.
way for them all to basically be cloned and resurrected.
Ooh. Okay. You know
Then
what?
it's
All right.
kind of hopeful.
So give us that little bit of story with Plug It In. We learn that we're a medical member, and that also hints us towards what we're going to learn at the cyber phylactery later. So
Yeah.
why don't we add that to the Plug It In button there?
All right. So, memories bleed into your vision as you see snatched images of fire, explosions, and Wilhelm screams
God, he's so
as the
snatched.
as the crew is
Oh
killed
man. Oh
by
shit.
an unknown threat.
Son of a.
Um, you hear a voice, your own, human. Back everyone into the cyber phylactery. I will resurrect us when the threat is past. This is such bad writing. When the threat is past, um,
We'll hire somebody in the audience to do the real copy. We won't do that. We don't have money, but we can pretend.
via my connection to Robo. There you go. We can do a session
Yes.
just on lore, making this way more
Yeah.
actually tied up.
Sweet.
Um,
And then you go into engineering from here.
yeah. So you realize you are the key to cloning and resurrecting your currently dead crew
Okay, I have a
as
suggestion
you
though.
head toward engineering. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that this is too much information to give them in a side path. And I think
Yes.
instead this should be what you learn at the phylactery itself. Um,
Okay.
and here we get a hint towards it. So here we learn that we are one of the crew. And maybe we also tell them there's more information that we can't decode or something like that to hint that there's
Yeah.
more.
Oh, back everyone into the cyber phylactery, and then the transmission cuts, or the memories bleed away,
Yes,
and you
yes.
then head to engineering.
Yes, I like that.
Um,
And then maybe yeah, I think that's it because you've heard your own voice. So you're hinting that
uh,
perhaps you were human.
Become aware of your surroundings again as the chip stops broadcasting,
Now, one of the reasons
and
that
you head toward engineering.
yes, one of the reasons I suggest that is because when you do have branching paths, and this is not just with a hard branching path narrative like we're writing here, this is also for level design, and this is for game design in general. If you think about the different ways that your player may experience the game, you hide information in a way that your player won't ever find it, or that not all players will find it, then you can't guarantee the player experience. So if there's something that's really important that you really want them to know, probably you're going to put that somewhere that you can force all players through. If it's something like this, where you're hinting at them, giving them something that's richer, deeper, and has them start to think about your final reveal or whatever else happens later in your story, then that's something that's a little bit more tasty to hide on the edges. Because now this feels like a hint. This feels like an extra discovery that I got because I went a specific way, instead of me losing information because I didn't go a specific way. It's an add, not a subtract. All right. So then we got to decide what happens in engineering. I saw one suggestion earlier on that I thought was really cool, which was somebody suggested that you get eyes in engineering. Now, obviously, we've already been seeing things, so maybe we like find our right eye, and the right eye has like our diagnostic tools in it or something. Oh, we lost your audio, Tim.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I fell backwards on my chair. Cool. Yeah, so let's do that. So, you enter engineering and see you can't use warp core, copyright, a plasma core. Plasma core humming in standby mode as low level light illuminates the room.
We're gonna truck through this and get it ready, and then we will have one person choose how to play at the end, and then we'll end the episode, everyone.
Nice.
All right.
On the ground again, you find your right eye.
Oh shoot!
Oh my gosh. Plug it in. Oh,
Yes.
equip eye.
Uh
Don't equip
huh.
eye.
So I think we should have another forced convergence node, which is the phylactery, and we'll end the story there. So why don't we add the phylactery, and then we'll see how these two choices get us to the phylactery.
Okay, so you want me to write the phylactery one?
Yeah, just placing it there for the sake of organization. Yep.
Yeah. Enter the phylactery.
All right.
All right. So, equip eye.
What happens, audience, when we equip an eye versus not equip an eye? What do we think? As you plug in the eye, that can be the thing that reveals the crisis, which is that we're running out of power. Why don't we let's start with that for equipping the eye. I think that's a safe bet. Well, now you can see Petunio. You can see crew identity, ship status, etc. Nice. Okay, yeah. So when you equip the eye, maybe your left eye is like just a camera, and your right eye is all diagnostic information. So it shows the ship status, and it shows your power status, which is running low.
Notice the below stats. Ship status 80% damaged.
Oh, bad.
Crew
Many
status.
damage.
All bodies dead. All souls backed up.
Ooh.
Robo status 19% power.
Uh-oh.
Low power mode imminent.
Oh no.
Oh no. And then we'll have enter the phylactery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hang on. Why isn't that working?
Did you spell it differently?
There we go. I've done it.
All right. And then what happens if you don't equip the eye? Or maybe the don't equip the eye is just you just go to the phylactery.
I think you enter low power mode. Like you
It's a
hear
death
a
option.
yeah. I think for the sake of finishing this in 2-3
Oh yeah.
minutes,
You keep looking around and you run out of power because you didn't know you were
yeah,
running low. I like it. That's easy.
your
Your
vision
second death option.
begins to swim. Your thoughts slow, like feet being dragged through mud. Your head
Petunio,
tilts forward, and you stand motionless. There you go.
add one thing to the end of that for me, Tim.
Yep.
For the rest of time.
For the rest of time.
Oh
my god.
Petunio says, turns out the lifts were the friends we made along the way. All
They
right.
really elevate you.
Hey. So the phylactery. This is our last choice. We gotta wrap this up. So what happens here?
As you cross into the border of the phylactery's massive power, your energy cells replenish, and you can hear the cheers of the souls of your friends.
Wow.
A big green button presents itself. Resurrect the crew.
Uh-huh.
Leave them in purgatory.
Oh. Okay. So then let's write us a nice ending, y'all. You can leave in the chat. Tim, go for it. But you can leave in the chat anything you would like to a nice, satisfying ending to our baby 3-act story.
You hit the button, and electricity whirs into motion as 3D printers
Yes.
roar into life
We
and
gotta see if we can get a
begin
sponsorship deal with Elegoo.
printing out the skeletal forms of crew members. You sit on the ground, satisfied. In 3 to 5 business days, your crew will be back hard at work repairing the ship.
Tunio has one recommendation.
Yeah.
Robo will return in You Only Lift Twice.
That's going in. Robo will return in You Only Lift Twice. Winky
Beautiful.
face.
And then
leave them in purgatory.
Yeah, what happens here, y'all, as we leave them in purgatory? You can go for it.
You're finally awake. Okay. You refuse to press the green button. The button slowly turns to red as electrical cables snake down and envelop your limbs. Traitor detected.
Ooh.
You are disassembled
Oh, shoot.
as you watch 3D shredders whirl into life. Your last thoughts are of how your parts will be used to bring back the crew anyway. Railroaded.
Nice. Amazing. All right. Sometimes railroading is okay, by the way. The illusion of choice is something that happens a lot in narrative games. Okay, so we've hit the end of the game at 4 minutes past our deadline. That's pretty typical. So let's why don't we play through just one time? Audience, we're gonna ask at each choice what we should do. So Tim, let's play our game.
So let's test it from here. Can you see that?
No.
Hang on. I think I need to sort out my share settings. Oh, let me just share that again. All right. So, Robo has been seen slowly rising from a battered and rusted deck plate. They are fizzing, sparking, and clearly bear the signs of battle damage. I've been knocked through the ship. Memory files incomplete. Last known objective. Get to the cyber phylactery. Do you take the dark vent, the regular lift, or the damaged corridor with sparking wires hanging from overhead?
What do we think, audience? Regular lift, says Petunia. Let's do it.
All right, regular lift. Bing! You enter the lift. The floor is arranged in symbols of the ship. A keypad lights up showing you can ascend or descend. Ascend, descend, or exit the lift. What does everyone do?
Descend, says Crasho.
Almost like you've helped design this, everyone.
Crasho wants us to descend. I'm going to accept the first choice every time. So let's descend.
All right. The lift doors slide open with a ping. You have arrived at engineering.
Wow.
You enter engineering and see a plasma core humming in standby mode as low-level light illuminates the room. On the ground, you find your right eye.
Ooh.
Do you equip eye? Do you not equip eye? Do you enter the phylactery?
I feel like I frequently just stick eyes in my face that I find.
I always use eyes personally.
It says to equip.
Equip eye.
Yeah, there we go.
You plug in your right eye, a tool used for status updates and intelligence gathering. You notice the below stats. Ship status, 80% damaged.
Oof.
Crew status, all bodies dead, all souls backed up. Robo status, 19% power. Low power mode imminent.
Oh, shoot. I guess we enter the phylactery then.
That's our only choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you cross into the border of the phylactery, typo there, phylactery's massive power, your energy cells replenish and you can hear the cheers of the souls of your friends. A big green button presents itself. Resurrect the crew or leave them in purgatory. This is why QA is so freaking valuable.
True that. QA meaning quality assurance, the people who test our games, we love you. We're at the end of Mass Effect 3 and we have a big green or a big red option. Which one did we do? Leave them, says Energy Man.
All right,
Purgatory, says Cheru.
You refuse to press the green button. The button slowly turns to red as electrical cables snake down and envelop your limbs. Traitor detected. You are disassembled as you watch 3D shredders whirl into life. Your last forgets are of how your parts will be used to bring back the crew anyway. Railroaded. Well, you know what, audience? You gave me a twist because you were like, guys, we want a really hopeful story, and then playing it through, you were like, we want the evil ending. So thank you.
Y'all are murder hobos.
Out on this.
Indeed. All right. Well, what a beautiful story. So at this point in time, probably what you would do is iterate. So we've noticed some bugs. We would definitely fix that. We've probably noticed some rough edges, and we might continue to expand the story. This is probably what we would consider a prototype in our typical 6 stages of a game, where we go from a prototype to a first playable, to a vertical slice, to an alpha, a beta, and then our launched version of the game, and infinite versions after that. So probably we've just made a prototype of our game. Did we come up with a name for this? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. Title in progress, but we've done like a mini game jam together as well. Like
like 30 minutes,
hour and a bit.
Yeah. What do we call it, everybody? What is the name of this game? And then we'll close down the
Game
episode.
of the Year.
It's just called Game of the Year. That's the name.
I wonder if you could actually release a game commercially and call it Game of the Year. There's got to be some kind of.
I'm gonna search it on Steam.
Can you just do that?
I'm gonna search it on Steam right now. Store Game of the Year. Oh, it's just all the. Nope. Yep. There is one. Game of the Year, a rhythm arcade about the lifestyle of ordinary teenagers in a mysterious primitive world.
Incredible.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna compete with them because Game of the Year is clearly the name. Maybe Robo Game of the Year.
We could just put like best creative direction winner 2026 or something.
Okay. Well, I think it is kids love the long titles. Nice. All right. So I think we'll share. I think we'll put a link. Is it easy for you to put this game up for people to play, Tim?
Yeah, I'm gonna edit the typos out and I'll put it. I mean, I've got my own itch page, or if IGA has an itch page, you can put it on there, and we'll just check it out.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we will put it up and we will drop it in the description down below for anyone who is listening to the podcast. And we'll put it in the Discord whenever it's up for those who would like to play, just for funsies. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. I would love your thoughts on this sort of interactive episode. We went a couple of minutes over here, but hopefully you had a fun time and still learned a thing or two. It feels like a nice break from how we typically do things. We will still do our interviews with smart people, but we'd like to get a little bit more fun with it and have a good time. Nice. I'm glad people are having fun. So, Tim, you want to do our outro here?
Absolutely. Let's get cracking.
All right, that's going to wrap us up for the day. But before we go, we'd like to do two different.
So, first of all, some extra credit that you, our wonderful listeners, can do today. Why not download Twine? Make yourself a short, branching, interactive fiction, and then send it to us so we can play it and give you some feedback. And also, if you've got any ideas of other weird and wonderful types of episodes that you'd like to see Willem, me, and perhaps some other guests do together, we're totally open to those. So please send them in.
Love that. All right, before we go, anything that we'd like to promote? Any last words of wisdom? I think I'm going to promote one thing here, Tim, if you will let me, and then I'll invite you to give some words of wisdom. So, the Indie Game Foundry, which is our sort of experimental publishing arm, Christy, in fact, is a member of the Foundry, who you heard from earlier today, is launching 3 of their games to Kickstarter October 15th. So just over a month, about 6 weeks from the day of recording this episode. Those games need your help. They are all first-time indie founders, which means there's very little budget to go around for marketing. This is just Kickstarter. This is not released. They're releasing in March, Petunio. This is the Kickstarter to help them get a little bit of money to keep building out the games. We're launching a program that we actually haven't made publicly available yet. This is the first time we're talking about it. And we're calling the Friends of Foundry program. It's a very simple little reward tier system to try to get your help in marketing those games. So basically, if you sign up here, it takes you less than a minute to sign up. And for those who are listening to the episode, there will be a link down below. If you share the Kickstarter games, if you repost us on the first day of those Kickstarters, we're going to give you some rewards that are detailed in the link I just provided, including a unique role in the Discord and a social shout out where we say thank you to all of our wonderful friends of Foundry. We're also giving out some free classes if you actually back the campaigns. But even if all you do is share the Foundry campaigns when they come out on October 15th, that would be super mega helpful. So it takes less than a minute to sign up for this link that I just sent. And we will not spam you. We are not putting these emails into a list anywhere except for that first day where we ask you to shout them out on day 1, because day 1s of Kickstarters are so terribly important. So if you're willing to be a friend of Foundry, please sign up there. All right, that's going to be my self-promotion. Tim, any last words of wisdom for us?
So if you want to make branching narratives or any kind of story game, don't worry about, am I a good enough writer yet? Or shall I wait a bit to do it? Just make stuff and have fun. Like, no one gives you permission to be a creator of any kind. Just go out there and do it. You know, I've got 1 game credit myself, and I've written some stuff commercially and some fiction stuff here and there. I didn't go to university to be a writer or any of the other type of game development I've done. I've just been stubborn and steadfast in, I want to do this kind of thing for fun. No one can stop me. So yeah, download Twine. It's free, or Ink, or one of the other tools if you are interested in branching narratives, or if you're just making games in a different vein, if you're an artist or programmer. Just go out, have fun, do it, learn, create, and share it with people if you want to. You know, it's a time in the industry where it feels like a lot of doors are being closed in our faces. So let's just make our own doors and walk through that way.
Amazing. Yes, I just corrected the link, by the way. Apparently, people were not able to access it. You should be able to now. Absolutely. There's that meme that's been going around that's like, just start and make it good later. Or there's the quote from my own mom, who's a theater director her whole career, that I love, which is done is beautiful. There's so many different things out there that will stop you from getting started, and none of them are worth it. Just begin, start building, get at it. We'd love to see what you create here. And yeah, can't wait to see you launch your own studios, everybody. I think, Tim, that's it. Is that it?
That is it. I think that's everything, right?
Okay, yeah. So your homework, once again, is to try out Twine, make a little branching story. We are going to post a link to the one that we made together today. We would love to see what you create, though, as well. So you can post that on LinkedIn and tag us, Indie Game Academy, Tim Wood, Willem Delventhal, and we'll be excited and play your game with you. Okay,
Absolutely.
we'll be back here next week, 12 p.m. Eastern time. And I think actually we're going to be talking with some of the Foundry team members about their process in starting a studio and launching a Kickstarter. So if you want to learn about that, we'll be doing that. See you again, everybody, sometime soon.
See you next week.
Bye.
Game over.